Hello and welcome to Bert's Imperfect Bakes, the channel where it's okay to not bake perfectly every time. I'm Bert and this week we're going to do something very controversial. You know that cake that's been in the news a lot lately and all over social media and that supermarkets are fighting over? Well, we're going to make a version of it. But don't worry supermarkets, I'm not going to be selling it to the masses. I'm just making one version and not selling it. And I'm going to call my version Bert the Bug. So this week, as you can see, we have a fancy stand mixer. My handheld electric one gave up last week. So we're going to start with adding 4 eggs to the bowl, whether you're using a stand mixer or just a generic bowl. Add your sugar and then give that a good whisk until light and fluffy. What's interesting about this recipe is there's no butter in the cake mix itself. With a stand mixer you can just leave it to it. Turn it off and you have a nice fluffy mixture. Like so. Now we're going to sieve in our flour and cocoa or cacao powder. And then fold that in nicely so that you don't remove all the air that you've just whisked into your egg and sugar mixture. This can take some time, so be patient. Also, preheat your oven to 180 fan. There you go, all nice and done. And then you're going to add it to a Swiss roll tin or a flat tin. It's about 30 by 20 something centimetres. And then pour your mixture in. Obviously line the tray and grease it beforehand and smooth it out so it's nice and flat. Just being a bit of a perfectionist here. And then pop it in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes, not long at all. While your cake's in the oven, get some baking paper onto a work surface and sprinkle it with some icing sugar. And then when your cake comes out of the oven, take it out of its tray immediately and then pop it onto the icing sugar dusted paper. Remove the paper from the back of or the underside of the cake very carefully. Try not to rip any cake up with it. Turn the oven off. Look at the steam coming off that. And then score one end. I'm going for the thinner end. So don't cut all the way through. Just be very gentle. I decided to switch to a better knife because that wasn't really doing much. That's better. And then you're going to get the paper that's underneath, use that to roll so that the paper rolls inside your cake. And this is so that it gives it a memory of it being rolled. Then once it's rolled, we're going to leave it to cool completely. In the meantime, we're going to make some buttercream. This consists of icing sugar, cocoa powder or cacao powder, sieved into a bowl, and some butter. I'll let you into a secret. I did this bit wrong. So ideally, with your butter, get that whisked up and softened first, then add your sieved icing sugar and chocolate flavour, so that you get a nicer consistency of buttercream. Because this first batch curdled, because I also added a chocolate sauce, which was a bit too much liquid, and it just went wrong. So I made a better batch instead. And once your cake is cooled completely, you need to unroll it very carefully. Gently does it. And the idea behind the icing sugar is so that the paper comes off easily. And as you can see, I cut it a bit too much because it cracked at the end there. And now fill it with your buttercream. Find a palette knife if you have one. Makes it easier to spread out. And then just spread that all over the inside of your cake. A nice generous coating. And obviously you don't want to go right to the edge because you don't want it to splodge out of the edges when you re-roll it. Now re-roll. It's easier to do because it remembers how it was when you first rolled it. And there you go, a rolled cake. Now I'm just cutting off the edges just to neaten it up a little bit. And also so I could sample those bits. And while that's doing that, melt some white chocolate. Or whatever chocolate you like. I did white, so it was a completely different variation of cake. And I'm going to do some coloured white chocolate to make the feet and the face. I've gone for purple, favourite colour. Taste the white chocolate because why not? And then colour your chocolate with a colour of your choice. I'm giving it a good mix. And then I'm using an ice cube tray to make some feet. It's quite a messy job. And then I needed more white chocolate to make a face. And I'm just using a cookie cutter in the shape of a cupcake. You can use whatever you like. I've just positioned some baking paper underneath, and then I've gone and put that on a plate in the fridge to set. Just filling in a bit more of my feet there, the excess chocolate. I mean, if you wasn't watching the video, that would sound really weird. Filling in your feet with white chocolate. What are you on about? And then, as you can see, I'm flooding the cake with the rest of the white chocolate to coat it. It's a good idea to put a drip tray underneath. And then I recycled that drippy chocolate to give it a second coating. Here we go. I'm going to do a second layer of chocolate and I'm going to pop it onto this board. Try to. Ooh. Central-ish. Okay. Just be careful with this drizzle. Well, I say careful. What I really mean is make a mess. I'll do for now. is it? Oh. Ooh, maybe. Something flat. Or a spoon. Ah! Look at this face. Ta-da! I mean, it's not perfect, but this is Bert. Probably his head is a bit, oh her, could be a her. Her head is a bit too big for this. Well, that's fine, we'll live with that. And this, or these, are feet. Ooh. Surgically remove the drippy chocolate. Oh my word, that didn't go to plan. Nope, this is not working. Considering I've not made a roulade before, this is not bad going. I'm going to pop this in the fridge now so it can set properly. So here is the final product. Bert the Bug. Bit of a odd looking face. I'm not the best at faces, as you can see, but it doesn't look completely hideous. Might taste better. Let's see. That for a swirl. It's quite good considering I've not made one before. Let's give it a go, eh? Not as good as the real thing, but not bad either. So, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And if you have any suggestions for anything you might like me to make in the next episode, please put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.